What do you make of above it all Biden now actually going, right? The Democrats were salivating. Trump's stuck in court. He's not going to be able to say anything. Joe Biden's got the whole nation to himself. Meanwhile, they're like, holy all the action's over there. We better get over there right now. Who do we send? Get Robert De Niro. He's one of the biggest stars on earth. Everybody will love him. Well, he got booed to the point where he started to like get upset. Somebody, and I got to imagine it was a Trump supporter, must have hit one of those car alarms, the annoying car alarms, which took over half of his remarks.
That was hilarious. I'm mad that I didn't point that out, but that was hilarious. The brother he had something to say and somebody hit the car alarm. It was like, man, boop, 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 just bumping up against cars and just sitting up other cars, just, shaking people's handles on their car door handles, trying to set off their alarms.
He was so annoyed. He's not used to going into the room and not being the most popular guy there. Stu, so what do you make of their running to Trump? Sometimes when Muhammad won't go to the mountain, you know it has to happen.
Well, you know, there was a big story in Politico today saying that the Dems are in full freakout mode over the Biden candidacy and how it's going, and which is not well. So what better way to turn the narrative around about your, 80-plus-year-old doddering candidate than send out an 80-plus-year-old doddering celebrity to support him in front of a courthouse where he shows up, by the way, in a cloth mask outdoors.
Oh, my God.
He walks up in a mask to prevent COVID outdoor transmission, which scientists will tell you has never occurred outside of very close conversation. And then he, of course, steps up to the podium, and when he's surrounded by everybody, and removes the mask immediately. It's actually a really good microcosm of how this is going so far for Biden.
It's so true. Unless the mask read vote, it couldn't have been any better.
Yeah, it's true. It's just embarrassing. This is an embarrassing situation, and they are now getting to the point where I think they've had this narrative in their head since the beginning, Megyn, I think, where they thought, look, people, Trump left office and wasn't all that popular, right? He leaves in 2020, even before January 6th, his approval rating was never sky high. People will remember eventually that they didn't like him. They'll see him on TV, he'll start tweeting again or something, and the people will be reminded. And the closer and closer we get to this election, I think they're realizing that the average everyday situation for the average everyday person is overwhelming whatever distaste they had for Donald Trump's personality or hijinks outside of office. They don't seem to be thinking about that. They seem to be thinking about their bank accounts and the fact that they're paying, $9 a gallon for milk. And this is a big problem for them, and one that is overwhelming whatever concerns they have about Trump. They look
Facts. Your personality and how you speak about things is not at the top of my list when it comes to me being able to provide for my family. All right? At least if you're a sensible adult. If you're a sensible adult, you're not looking at how somebody made you feel when they said something, or how somebody made you feel when they did not say something. It's a bully pulpit. It's all about social credit score. They're trying to destroy this brother's social credit score so that everything that's actually real no longer matters. And we fall for it time after time after time.
back at Trump as something that, it was a positive memory in their mind as opposed to what they have now. And they might not like Donald Trump, but what they do know is they don't want what they have at this moment.
Dave, here's some sound from outside the courtroom. De Niro talking about what's going to happen. We keep hearing this from Rachel Maddow and others. If Trump wins, suggesting we'll never get rid of him. He's going to stay in office forever and ever. He will single-handedly bend the Constitution to his will. Sot one.
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave.
They act like Trump is a scumbag son or a scumbag daughter who's just went out in the world and just started doing something strange for some change and been hooked on drugs and alcohol, and then we finally let him come back in. He come knocking at the door like, I don't know what to do. I ain't got nowhere to stay. Can I stay with y'all? And we like, look, babe, if we let him live with us, he's not gonna ever leave. We've seen him do this, that, and other. That's not the case with Trump. We have been teaching people how to grow online. It's been absolutely amazing. We have 3 people who have been able to reach monetization in less than 30 days. Growing YouTube channels, some from 0 people. We have one guy who had 2 subscribers before he started working with me. He started helping him. His views went up 4.8 million%. We're super excited. If anybody ever want to grow on YouTube, you reach out to me with the word coach. And they sound foolish every time they say it. It's idiotic. It's like they feel like they can control us based off of just our fears. That right there should be disrespectful enough for people to want to at least look into it. Look into it. Do your own research. Make up your own mind, because right now when somebody says, if this happened, the worst is going to happen. The sky is going to fall. I promise you it's going to be the worst ever. If somebody's doing that to you, you need to say, why are they trying so hard to keep me from looking into this? And guess what you should do to them? It might be a little offensive, but I believe that this might work. You should look into it. That'll really do it to them.
What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life? This is not a threat. This is a reality.
I'm laughing at the horns, because when y'all pointed out the horns, man, that was hilarious. The horns started like immediately. Dun, 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 dun. And like in his first 2 or 3 minutes, because he talked for like 10 minutes. And in the first 2 minutes, the horns went off. That's hilarious, man. The horns are the real MVP. I would like to interview the horn guy. Whoever hit the horn, I want to talk to you. If you watch my YouTube channel, I want to talk to you, and I want to know what made you hit the horn, brother or sister.
And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really, we don't have a choice.
Y'all heard him mess up. He was looking like, really? We don't have a choice.
Okay, just to follow up on that, Dave, here's
Thank you, Courtney.
a little bit of the pushback that he was getting and how he handled it in SOT 2.
For these lowlives, for Trump.
Low lives. He called MAGA country low lives. Y'all heard him. He called y'all low lives.
Under oath.
They lied under oath. Who lied under oath?
Talking about the J6
what
cops.
Are you telling me?
Those 2 traitors behind you.
Excuse me?
Those 2 traitors behind you.
They lied under oath?
That's right.
What are you saying?
They're traitors.
They're traitors. You gotta, I don't know, I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you.
Of course,
Dave, should Robert De Niro have been dealing with them at all?
Listen, if you look over De Niro's shoulder in that first clip, you can see Biden comms director Michael Tyler thinking to himself, "Oh my God, my career is over." I mean, it's right there at his eyes. Like you can completely see it. No, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I've covered every inch of this trial for the Morning Wire every day. So I'm there 9 o'clock this morning. There's my TV, there's my laptop, there's my thing, and I see Biden-Harris going to do a presser at the trial. Thought like, well, that doesn't seem like a very good idea. That doesn't send the message. This isn't political, right? But I thought, okay, that's dumb. And then I'm scrolling Twitter, and I don't know if you guys know Phil Wegman. He's a buddy of mine, wonderful White House correspondent for Real Clear Politics. One of the few guys who asks the tough questions, right? Serious journalist. I'm a goofy columnist. He's a serious journalist, right? And he quote tweets the press release, and he says, one of the speakers will be Robert De Niro. My hand to God, my first thought was, good for Phil. This is funny. This is a good, funny joke. It's nice to see Phil let his hair down. And then I was like, wait a minute, Phil wouldn't make this joke in this situation. And I still couldn't believe it was real. I am absolutely flummoxed. That is the dumbest move that I've ever seen a presidential campaign make in my entire life. Biden's campaign staff reminds me of a line from Glenn Ross when Ricky Roma looks at the office manager and he says, your job is to help us, not to f us up. And that's what I'd be saying if I was Joe Biden to my campaign staff right now. They're horrible. Look, I don't know if they're going to switch out Joe Biden. They got to switch out these fools because this was a hot mess.
Yeah. And honestly, like the January 6th cops, the thing is, Stu, these two in particular, especially Fanone, have been so partisan, so political. I mean, they hate President Trump. And I get that maybe they have additional reasons to dislike him, given what happened on J 6th. But if you listen to, in particular, this guy Fanone, I don't know Harry Dunn as well, everything he says about Trump is interpreted through the most harsh, partisan, Trump derangement syndrome afflicted lens. It's like, okay, we get it, right? Like these are, and De Niro too. I was on Fox News. I was in the prime time of Fox, and we had Robert De Niro on camera in an exclusive rant about Donald Trump. It was the first time he'd really come out and said how he felt about politics. And we broke that on my show when he ran and lost to Hillary Clinton. So what is it that they think has changed between then and now that De Niro couldn't get Trump defeated in 2016 to Hillary, but somehow he can do the job now against Joe Biden?
It is strange calculus. I don't understand it at all. I mean, obviously the Democrats have this quote unquote advantage of having all of the celebrities on earth liking them instead of Republicans. And they trot these people out constantly. I've never really seen much success with this approach, though. I don't know that it does anything for anyone. You kind of understand in theory the Capitol Police officer approach, right? These are people who, look, on January 6th, some Capitol Police officers were victims of being hit with flagpoles and things like this. There are some that I think are characters that you'd want on your side. You mentioned Harry Dunn, though. He's not one of them. I mean, Harry Dunn has what the person said to De Niro, at least part of it, was accurate. He has lied under oath. Our own Steve Baker here at The Blaze has done extensive reporting on this with video. He got access to all of the cameras inside the Capitol. Harry Dunn said under oath that he was in one place in the Capitol and had a confrontation. We have the video from that time. He was on the other side of the building, nowhere near where he said he was. This has been shown with video over and over again. Please look at Steve Baker's reporting on this. And he went on to, of course, run for a congressional seat, which he lost in a primary a couple of weeks ago. But he has been someone that the Democrats have tried to use this idea that he's this hero cop. And large parts of his story have already been proven to be untrue. They don't care. They have this idea that they can still control this narrative. And forever, through the mainstream media, this has been true. They've been right. They've been able to do this. I just don't think 2024, the same story. I don't think rolling out famous celebrities and people who are newsmakers whose stories have been proven at least half untrue, that's not going to work anymore because you don't have a media that is going to tell the story lock, stock, and barrel the way they want it. And I think they're going to wake up to a situation where they just don't have the control they believe they do. And I think it's just, now that we're within 6 months, it's starting to terrify them.
Now that we're within 6 months, it is starting to terrify them that all of their tricks are not working. That's what's happening. Now that it's within 6 months, they are realizing that all of our tricks, us putting all of the 3-letter agencies against him and trying to bury him, trying to make sure that he don't have enough money to deal with what we put on him. He don't have enough dime, nor do he have enough time to get out there and do what he need to do to become the next president. If we keep him in the courts, how can he be out there, giving speeches and telling people what's wrong with this administration and how he can correct it? Because every opportunity that he does have, that he is in front of a microphone, that's exactly what he's talking about. That's what we need to hear. what's going on with the current administration with regard to the country and how it's doing now, and what I'm going to do when I'm in office, and this is how the country will be from that. That's what we need to hear. That's what we need to hear.